I was really shocked. I hadn't been in a Goodwill store for a very long time, and earlier this week Brian and I were running some errands, and right next door was a Goodwill that I hadn't been in for well over a year. I was just wondering what the pricing was like. It wasn't a Goodwill bins, it wasn't the church rummage sale that I like. I was wondering what the pricing and what the stores look like right now. So this won't be a haul video. You won't see all the things that I found, but I'll show you what it's like in Minnesota and the crazy pricing system that our Goodwills have in place. Today I'm going to take you along with me inside this Goodwill store that's in Minnesota, and let's go take a peek and see what it's like inside. So right off the bat, inside of the doorway are the vases. And I, like I said, haven't been in a while, and I was just curious to see what kind of pricing. I'm often now in the Goodwill outlets or the bins, or I love to go to church rummage sales. So I was peeking at anything that interested me to see kind of what their pricing was. And the selection, it is really a nicer experience being in a store versus digging through the bins. I really did like this vase. Thought the price was pretty good on that one. But I was just more on a fact-finding mission today. That one looks to be from Target. This one was interesting. It was made of birdseed. Is that a vase? Price was right. I always think, who's your buyer? Who would buy that? So I left that one behind. And then right up near the cash registers are what all the purses that the Goodwill deems are nicer handbags. They segregate them and put them up near the cash registers. There was no brand. I didn't look too hard. That wasn't very interesting to me. I didn't see a brand off the bat. And they weren't they didn't even feel like leather. They were marked at $20. They looked faux leather to me. This one, a very, small little crossbody bag, nothing special about it. And so I couldn't quite determine what made those bags come to the front of the store. This one was 9 West for $11. This one had that old phone case in the back, and again, it wasn't leather. And Vera Bradley, I always find Vera Bradley at the Goodwill Outlet. This was $19.99 for Vera. Clear glassware, I don't know enough about that versus crystal. Passed that one right by. Again, a little more of the vases and floral arrangements. This little greenish blue one caught my eye. I thought that was an interesting find, but I think that one said $9.99. So did not pick that one up. Again, the clear glass aisle, not so much for me. I do and have picked up, some Starbucks collectible mugs. You can do really well with single mugs. It's a, you never quite know what you're going to see and find in the mug section, but that wasn't too bad. Passed that one up. The shelves were kind of bare, I thought. Single plates, nothing all that interesting. Considering, it was right around the holidays, there was quite a few people in the store. Another clear Starbucks glass, I passed that one up. So I was looking to see pricing and if I could find anything that was really special and that I kind of wanted to see if I should start going back to the Goodwill stores. I haven't probably been in them at over a year. This one looked interesting. I like vintage cigar boxes. That's what this was, $4.99. It looked to be made into a purse. And then some fabric inside. I wasn't quite sure what was going on here. Decoupage kind of stickers. I left that one behind. That'll be the theme here. I'll warn you, that'll be the theme. Oh, I like this. That I'm going to be a cool old lady. There was a really good find towards the end that made it all worthwhile. But I was in the store with my husband probably a half hour poking around. It wasn't until the end that I found something truly that I thought the Goodwill may have missed. And the pricing and the clothing was comical as to how high they price some things and some things they missed. I liked this a lot, this kind of mid-century sculpture. again, I think that was $14.99. I would have picked that one up, but $14.99, and then it was scratched. I think you could see that there was scratches on that one. Oh, there's my husband. He came around the corner. He was looking for himself. Vintage Christmas. I do like vintage Christmas if I can find like the glass ornaments. Um, I took a look at this caribou mug, $4.99. I left that one behind. There didn't seem to be anything all that unique about it. Some Starbucks mugs and glasses can do quite well. Thought this one might be Starbucks. It was not. Vintage ornaments, glass, German. I've done quite well with those. Uh, Nothing here seemed out of the ordinary. Nothing. I didn't see anything that seemed like I should pick it up. These are the Department 56 snow babies. My mom, the $14.99. My mom had a collection of those. I've sold every one of hers, but at $14.99, that was a little high, I thought. So vintage, if you can find vintage embroidered Christmas stockings, those I can do quite well and have done quite well. The kits that you can find to create those stockings do really well. Wasn't quite sure what this was. Little trinkets inside of a little glass box. Wasn't quite sure what that was. But the kits to create those embroidered stockings, those go for really good money if you can find that. But this aisle, there were Target, a lot of, Target is a company based in Minnesota. There was a lot of kind of leftover Target items. On the one side was the Easter spring items, on the other side was the Target's kind of winter collection. So nothing really caught my eye. Again, going down the hard goods aisle, I kind of thought this was interesting, but it ended up being a home goods item, $4.99, but it had all the candle wax in it. So for home goods, I always look for vintage. I look for things made in Europe, things that were made in Japan. I liked this too. And then I thought it was well done. I did a Google image search on it, a reverse image search. I couldn't find anything. I didn't know who the buyer would be for that. I'm not afraid to ship it, but I just wasn't sure who that would maybe appeal to. This was awfully pretty. There wasn't any interesting markings on that one. I think that one said $16.99, $14.99 again. They were big into those $14.99 price tags. This I thought was cute, but I only saw one, $3.99. I only saw one. If there would have been a little collection of those, I might have considered those. That was a cute little item. And nothing, again, this little platter and spoon I had looked at. So the shelves, I've been there where the shelves were stocked with items. So many of these things were high ticket items that didn't have any markings on them, so I wasn't certain what to do with it. This was a little train set. So when the Goodwill, oh, this one really I was excited about. The beginning, Ray Dunn, back when Ray Dunn, before it got mass produced, the original Ray Dunn items. Now that had the sticker on it, but I did look that one up because the original Ray Dunn goes for thousands of dollars. But when I saw that actual barcoded sticker, I knew that was just a reproduction of the original. But if you can find original Ray Dunn, it goes for an amazing amount of money. Before they mass marketed them to like home goods and that. Those don't, I wouldn't pick those up. Those aren't that interesting at all. This was a Wells Fargo cookie jar. I took a look at that. $19.99. I took a peek at that. I did a Google image search. They were selling on eBay for $14.99. So that wasn't going to be a real good find for me. These are what some people talk about the carts rolling out. These are just the bins that come out, and we're able to shop in those before they go on the shelves. I would ask before you start digging, sometimes the stores will let you shop the carts before, and other times they don't want you to touch it and they want it to be put on the shelves by the employees. So if you're going to dig in there, I guess I would ask if that's allowed, if you can find someone to ask. I picked up vintage planners, leather planners. I do look at the school supplies, the office supply section. I saw another one of these cigar boxes. I do like those. This one looked really interesting. But then there you can see that mark on the top. I didn't like that. But I do like vintage unique cigar boxes and have done well with those. I thought the price was decent on that one. So if that mark wouldn't have been there, that one I was interested in. So I haven't picked up anything yet. The candles, some of these candles, sometimes the Bath and Body Works, those candles that are discontinued are good to pick up, but the pricing on some of them were $8.99, $10.99. The White Barn, yeah, there you go, $8.99. Those White Barn candles, but it has to be a discontinued one. Some of those candles that I was looking at were already burned down. They weren't even new. So passed on that. I'm at this point I remember thinking, well, I just probably am doing okay staying at the Goodwill Outlet because these items are priced so high that I don't know quite who they're selling to. Resellers can't there isn't any money left on those items. People that need items at a good price, I don't, they're just as high as things are on sale at the retail level. So I'm not sure who goes in to buy secondhand that wouldn't just want to go to an actual retail store or have it shipped to them. Because pre-COVID, absolutely, these items in the store, this particular store, $3.99, $2.99, $1.99. Pillowcases in this linen section were 99 cents. A lot of times in the linen section, you can find silk scarves and wraps that kind of get hung up in that area without being put, if they don't have a scarf area. Things that I found beautiful linens and scarves back in the day for 99 cents and $1.99. There's an example of a scarf. Beautiful. You can see those edges are hand sewn edges. It was silk. And I took a look at it down at the bottom. It had something about it being from the Mayo Clinic. So that was a stunning scarf. But that Mayo Clinic, I wouldn't call it a promotion. It had something to do with something that was going on at the Mayo Clinic at that time. So that one was left behind. That was stunning, huge, and all hand sewn edges, which is a great quality piece to find. These are from some store. I don't know. Those were just hanging there, these rugs. So made my way to the clothing aisle. I've done well, used to do well with sweaters. I think this is a Target brand. Sweaters that are handmade. I used to do really well at the Goodwill. I love the hats, but the pricing was just when those weigh so little, and you can find them at the Goodwill Outlet. The hats were great, but $10.99. You can't make any money. I've sold Betmar. I've sold that brand before. You can't make any money on that when the pricing starts at $10.99, and they're not in that great of shape. So I did take a peek. I love to pick up hats and do well with hats. So a wool, this one, if you can find, sometimes they're felt and sometimes they're wool, but I like uh, I like all of those interesting, unique vintage hats. So made my way around again. I started looking at the shoes, which this was much more delightful to find shoes in a pair versus at the Goodwill bins where they're separated and you just are searching. You find one you like and you're just searching for anything that to find a match, which to me is really, really hard. But the pricing on these shoes was just absolutely ridiculous. They're decent shoes, but like Jessica Simpson, 14.99. No real good name brands, nothing really special about them. There isn't all that many. And I just kind of kept scouring for anything that looked interesting, but they were in decent shape, But I'm not sure again why you wouldn't buy them new on sale for not much more than the $24.99, the $19.99. I that to me seemed no. So I did not pick up any shoes, but I was curious to find look through their shoes. So made my way over to the blouses and the tops and was looking to try and find any sort of good brands and not to be a broken record, but oh, there he is. He was happy. He was showing me something he found. So the blouses didn't do so much for me. Thought I'd go back to the hard goods again and try and see if I could find anything that was a little treasure that was kind of mixed in. At a certain point, I think I had that bowl when we got married. Maybe that it could be my bowl. I have donated to this particular Goodwill. I do think I had that bowl. That was one of my wedding gifts. Um, at this point going into the store, I almost feel like it's a little bit of a game where you're just trying to outsmart the Goodwill. Like maybe you know something that they don't know because when they're going through these things one by one by one, they have some pricer in the back looking through all of this and trying to make sure they're getting the absolute best amount of money they can for each and every piece. This was the best. St. John's Bay, which was $19.99. Now, St. John's is different than St. John's Bay. St. John's Bay is J.C. Penney. So nobody's paying $19.99 for a sweater that you could probably get on clearance for $8.99 at J.C. Penney. So the pricers don't quite know what they're doing. Nothing, there was Massimo, there was no pricing that matched a used item, in my opinion. So that was quickly a bust for me. This was J. Jill. It wasn't a very nice looking J. Jill, but because it had a tag still on it, the actual tag, that one was really marked up for what it was. So I didn't spend very much time looking through the sweaters because the brands were mall brands or brands that I hadn't heard of, and it was pretty much a bust for me. So found my way to the handbags. These were in the regular section handbags. And like I said in the beginning, they separated out the higher quality handbags and put them up near the front. I don't know that if they have a problem with people trying to steal at this particular store, but there wasn't much difference between what they were putting in the regular part of the store and what they put up near the front part of the store. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy there was. So I went into the coats and oh, here it is. Cezanne, $14.99. I will do a screenshot. And it was mixed in with all of these other jackets that this one was $29.99 and it didn't have a tag or a size tag, a brand or a size tag. Mixed in with all of these coats, this was Dress Barn for $14.99. What? What? So there's Brian. That's my one item that I got. I was so excited. He was doing a dance. So he got a couple of tapes, VHS tapes, but this was the find of the century. Now, how can that be priced at the same as all of those other items? So before I left, he went up to pay. Before I left, I made one more trip over to look at the hard goods. And I forgot to mention that on Wednesdays, seniors get 25% off. So that $14.99 shacket, the corduroy jacket that I found, was actually 25% off of the $14. So in addition to that, I picked up one other item, which this one caught my eye. This little picture back here was marked and thought that was a little collectible item.